Hey Dad, today I'm going to be showing you Planetside 2. Remember when we used to play like Battlefield 1942 a lot when I was a kid? This is a lot like a modernized, much larger scale version of that with sci-fi elements. So, the main takeaway from this game is that instead of you picking a map, going there and fighting on it, there are 5 continents. And should a faction capture a continent, it locks down and unlocks another. So I think the most I've ever seen unlocked at a time was 3. The least I've ever seen was 4. So sometimes it's everybody on one continent just duking it out. However many people can fit there, or however many people can fight. You know, ships can come in, tanks can come in. One of the most fun things that I've experienced in this game is when reinforcements start showing up in mass. Because whenever random people join the game, they'll be like, oh, well, I'll just deploy to the hot zones, the area where there's intense fighting. But it's fun whenever you're in a large fight, and, you know, whether things are going bad or good, whatever the outcome may be heading towards, I guess, just seeing an enormous armor column from your faction just rolling up, it's really, really fun. Just like either them turning the tide or them coming to just finish cleaning up, which y'all just finished. It's really nice seeing the cohesion between the factions. This is a Terran Republic soldier. That's Sydney's character. But there's the 3 major factions. Terran Republic is one. They are the more professional military faction. They were the ruling government. They have very high fire rate weapons with really large magazine capacities. The New Conglomerate, they're a rebel faction, sort of like privately funded. Think like a mercenary, sort of, like they're funded by corporations. A lot bulkier looking armor. This is actually the only armor set of theirs that I like, but it doesn't really count because it's the one that can be used between all of the factions. Oh, that's right, each faction has their own music and stuff too, but they have much harder hitting, slower firing weapons. I personally prefer the TR weapon because they're a lot more forgiving. You miss a shot or two, cool. You still landed significantly more shots, or did more damage than you would have done had you missed 1 or 2 shots with an NC weapon. And you did it in a shorter period of time. They have the strongest tank in the game. I believe it's called the Vanguard. It's actually been a while since I've played this. But yeah, they also have insane shotguns. Their shotguns on this faction are they're unbelievably powerful. They're really fun to play as. Then there's the Vanu Sovereignty. These guys are cults. They're a cult that worships alien technology. They have the best fighter in the game, or ESF we call them, Empire-specific fighters. It's called the Scythe, and it can just hover in the air and do whatever it wants. It doesn't like the other fighters, like this one, which name I can't remember, and ours, the Mosquito. They have to keep flying forward or they'll fall. They have, you know, rear thrusters, like most fighters or planes and jets. The Scythe can just hang in air whenever it wants. It's significantly more maneuverable. Now you're thinking, wait a minute, if the Vanu Sovereignty have the best fighter and the New Conglomerate have the best tank, what do we have? We supposedly have the best infantry because our weapons are more forgiving. Sorry, I was exasperated right at the mic. But yeah, so there's a lot of give and take, but I'm going to break down some of the weapons and some of the classes here. Last one is Nanite System Operatives. These are, whenever you jump in, you're like, oh, you know, the factions are really unbalanced, like, you know, things are crazy. You might want to hop in as a Nanite System Operative. Sorry, I just keep coughing and clearing my throat non-stop. But you can hop in as a Nanite Systems Operative, and you will be put in whatever faction needs the most help. So sort of a good way to just get some action without having to be part of a group or anything crazy like that. But I'm going to show you my Terran Republic guy because these 2 I play on the most. That's also all armor sets for different classes. I'd explain which one they are from left to right, but I knew the loading screen would be over before we could do that. This is sort of the no man's land. Every faction just shows up here and they can just hang out, and like those are different shops down there. We can't actually shoot in here. All triggers are locked. But yeah, it's called Sanctuary. These are all the different locations, and there's a VR training place where you can like test out any weapon before you buy it. You can spend real life money on the game. You do not have to. You unlock certs over time by doing things either anything that helps your team. Do you help capture a point? Do you help do damage to enemies? Do you revive your allies? Do you heal your allies? Do you drop ammo for them? All of those things can get you certs. The 5 continents are very biome based. Like Indar is plains and savanna. Hassan is all swamp. Amrish is plains and like woodlands, forest. Ezimir is tundra and like Arctic, and then Oshur is Pacific. It's very very island based. It's really pretty. But right now Indar is the only one unlocked, so everybody's probably popping off in there. We probably won't see any combat in this recording, just because it's so easy to get carried away, and before you know it, this would be an hour, 2 hour long video because the battle just keeps shifting and it's so much fun to move along and all that stuff. Anyways, we're going to start at the top. Infiltrator. These guys have the weakest armor, but it's because they're able to cloak and go invisible. They're the only unit that can use sniper rifles, but they can also use SMGs and battle rifles, which are... think of them like... less damaging, higher fire rate sniper rifles, basically. But yeah, they're able to cloak, which is very handy. And each class doesn't just have a simple, oh, you can cloak and that's it. This, like, each class has different options. This is the hunter cloaking, just your standard cloak and uncloak. You have to be visible before you can pull the trigger. Nano armor cloaking. It doesn't last as long, but it also lets you take more damage while you're cloaked, which is neat. Then there is stalker cloaking. This makes it so that you can only use a pistol, but it makes it so that as long as you're standing still, it recharges your cloak. So you can actually just stay cloaked forever until you need to shoot. Yeah, they're pretty fun. Next weakest armor, or I guess next strongest armor, is the Light Assault. Light Assault has a little bit more armor than the Infiltrator. They have jetpacks. Again, lots of different kinds. There's the Ambusher jump jets, which is get you somewhere super fast with not a whole lot of control. You basically just shoot forward like a catapult. Drifter jump jets, pretty much no vertical thrust, but you can hold out for it forever. So this is a really good way if you have... one of my most fun moments in the game was these guys I was with, Hammered. That's what their faction is called, or I guess division, branch. Platoon, I think that's the word I'm looking for. No, it's clan, whatever. Anyways, they're called the Drunk Division. They're a bunch of drunk Canadians. They're great. Well, one time we got the entire platoon to all use drifter jump jets, and we all just stood on top of a tower and flew out blasting rockets, or rocklets, at an enemy spawn vehicle, and there was nothing they could do. They could try to shoot us down as quickly as they wanted, but there was like 100 of us. They couldn't get us all. And I'm sure it was terrifying from their perspective, because it was really fun turning around and being like, oh wow, that's so many jetpacks in this guy. Icarus jump jets. Straight up vertical thrust, as you can guess by the name. Just straight up. It's really good for tower jumping or tower stomping, which is, there's a lot of towers in the game with lots of vertical play. And then Skirmisher. Skirmisher are your standard jump jets. They're the ones I... Did I upgrade it all the way, or did it just come that way? I don't think it did. Yeah, I think I upgraded it all the way. Just your standard jetpack that you can think of from most games. They're able to use the carbine. Carbines are really, really good. Oh, they can also use shotguns. Shotguns, SMGs, carbines. The carbines are super good on the Light Assault because they don't suffer from aiming while you're using a jetpack. You can't aim down sights while using a jetpack, if I remember correctly, but their aim doesn't really suffer. Engineer has the same amount of armor as a Light Assault. That is an anti-tank rifle. They're the only class that can use that, but they can also use the carbine, the battle rifle, shotguns, and SMGs. Now, the reason light assaults can't use battle rifles is because it's kind of terrifying. Imagining a guy with a jetpack getting somewhere nobody can reach with a sniper rifle. It's just scary. It'd be way too powerful. They had to get rid of it, or they couldn't use it. Oh no, I'm jumping around too much. I forgot. Light assaults have rocket rifles. They can shoot either a flurry of small rockets or individually shoot the small rockets. But anyways, back to engineer. But yeah, carbines are really good on them too. Personally prefer the AMC a lot, and the Kindred. This one is actually, you can tell, sort of based off of old Russian weaponry. They have a lot of that kind of stuff. They have different kind of turrets. They have a manned infantry turret, an unmanned AI like powered turret, where it just stays on a swivel and shoots at targets. Hard light barriers, you can put them down and your faction can hide behind them. And then vehicle turrets. I've never actually really used them. Normally when I'm going for vehicles, I go light assault or heavy assault, but we'll get into that. They're also able to repair vehicles and repair mech suits, and put down ammo for their allies. I always keep medical kits on each unit just because they really come in handy. Next is the combat medic, next highest armor. Medic can take more damage than an engineer and light assault. They can also use assault rifles. Really, really great weapons. The Torque 9 I love. It's just a bullet hose. But it's one of the reasons they were afraid that if they made a medic, that their only good thing to do was revive and heal their allies with this, that nobody would play them. So they're like, okay, we'll give them stronger armor, give them an assault rifle. And it worked. They're a really popular class. They're my favorite class. They also have option between healing everyone around them in a 7-meter radius, at least when it's upgraded all the way. Or this, you put it down and it helps recharge everyone's shields faster. Don't worry, the shields don't make you have super high health. Like, it doesn't take forever to kill enemies. The time to kill is the most I think I've ever seen a weapon with all shots hitting time to kill at like center mass is I think like 2 seconds. So it's quick gameplay. It's not a game where you can just keep taking shot after shot after shot. I personally like loading up with tons of extra grenades and then having tons of revive grenades, because it's nice whenever a whole room you just see a ton of downed allies, you toss a grenade in there, and suddenly everyone in there is panicking because they're like, oh no, everyone we just killed is back, and it's just really fun to see. Then there is Heavy Assault. Heavy Assault use LMG. They are the tankiest class. They also have rocket launchers. They can also use shotguns, SMGs, stuff like that. But the LMGs are just, a lot of them are really, really good. They have their ability lets them put on a overshield, letting them take more damage. There's a few different kinds. They each do slightly different things. But if that's something you're interested in, definitely read between them, because some, like for instance this one. This one doesn't fully negate the damage you're taking, but it lasts longer. So you will have to heal at the end of using this one, probably, but you also more than likely survive the fight. This one, if you survive the fight, you probably won't have to heal at all, but it doesn't have as much protection. So like, they're very they're not super obvious changes like the ones that you see with an engineer, a medic, or a light assault, but they're there. Last is the Max. The Max unit is a large exosuit. You can just put whatever you want on it and it locks down into place. They're a lot of fun to play. You have to have an engineer with you to keep repairing you, because everybody is going to be aiming at you, obviously. You're the big beefy guy. But yeah, just going to show you a few of the vehicles real fast. Oh gosh, I love this game. The thing is, you wouldn't believe it, but this game came out in about like 2012, if I remember correctly. And I've been playing it ever since. It's a lot of fun. It's really easy to use your abilities and stuff like that. Like right there, I was just able to pop down. It's still spawning in because it's weird when you're in the warp gate. Oh, that's right. I'm going to show you how big the map is. This is where I am. That's the large facility pad I'm on. That's the rest of the continent. And it shows you which faction is taking over where. That's the really fun macro part of the game. Is micro, you're, in one place focusing on defending this point, putting defenses here, watching this place because they're spawning from there, blah, 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 whatever your strategy is for that area. But on the large scale, the macro strategy is okay, so we see that they're pushing right here and here. If we want, we could actually probably have an easier time with pushing there if we also push down here with a small group. That way they draw forces away from there to this more important point, not realizing we don't actually want this. Then it makes it easier for us to take this. Or sometimes turning them against each other. If they're in a big fight right here, then you're able to go wherever you want because they're gonna have to draw forces away from there. And so it's just a giant chess game. It's really fun getting into the commanders chat and just hearing them talk about what everybody should be focusing on, because it's just really fun when everybody's working together, just being one cohesive unit. There's bastions. They're giant sky vehicles. Think of it as a floating aircraft carrier. Oh no. Well, I'll explain the vehicles another time, Dad. But anyways, that was Planetside 2. Yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna make for the next video. Oh yeah, sorry this one took so long. My computer ran into some issues, and I needed to reset my computer entirely, fully factory reset it. So that's also why the last video was all choppy. So, anyways, love you, Dad. Talk to you soon.